All right, guys, welcome back. So in this video, what I'm gonna do, let me just clear the output. By the way, once you run it and you see the output is pretty big. So what you can do, you can just hit that cross button and it will clear the output, right? So I'm just clearing that output. And now, for example, we have a scenario. I'm coming now for the for loop. By the way, we can do the same thing in the while loop as well, but I'm just from the understanding perspective, I'm just creating a scenario where we want to see that whether our full name has a space, because obviously in the full name, the first name and the last name, it generally space separate them out in the full name, right? And we are still working on the data quality side where excuse me, we are checking the value in our full name field, right? If that is not the case, we obviously gonna report that okay, the full name is not appearing correctly. So how we gonna do it? There are multiple way, but because this is a for loop video, I'm just gonna show you the before. And in for the syntax is normally we provide the iteration of the structure, and it will return the item of that structure in each iteration. What does that what does I mean? Let me call it item in full name. And just for the sake of understanding, let me just put the full name in here so you can see. Now, in my full name, you can see this full name is comprised of the characters. So once I say item in full name, what does it mean? It's going to actually give me each character in each iteration. So for loop is smart enough, it will analyze the structure of your or target, of your container object or the object you are using in the loop, and it will retrieve the each part in the first container, which more like provide the concept of item, right? So if your full name is a string, it's going to return the character. If your full name is a list, it's going to return the item of the list. And if it's the dictionary, it's going to provide you the key pairs, right? So that's exactly the same concept. We're going to see later these data structures in depth, but don't worry about if you don't understand it now, right? But just to from the conceptual perspective, in each iteration, we get some part of that object that we are iterating on, right? So what I'm going to show you now, because I'm getting the character in my variable called item, my next thing I'm going to check it. So now I'm combining the loop with my condition, right? So I'm going to put the condition if item is equal to space, that means my full name has the space in it. What I'm going to do, sorry, I need to put the, I'm just going to I'm just going to put the value of the flag is equal to 1. We can use even true and false as well. So for example, initially I have the false and now I have the true, right? And now because I already find the space and I don't need to run any further iteration, I'll break my loop. And by the way, if you want to break your loop, there's a command you can use to break your loop forcefully. So sometime we reach to the condition where we don't need to move forward. So at that time, we can forcefully break our loop. And that's where the break command comes into the picture, which allow us to break our loop forcefully, even though we are not reaching to the end of the loop, right? So in this condition, as soon as I find this space, I'm gonna break my loop, and I'm making sure that I'm not moving further, right? Because I've already search the space, right? Otherwise, the flow will remain as it is. It will keep searching it, right? But at the end of this loop, if my flag is false, that means I'm unable to find the condition in my full name, and that will show me that the full name is not a valid value that I can insert back into my data set, right? So these are all the data qualities, because I'm more like recording this course from the data perspective. So you're gonna see a lot of examples I'm gonna use from the data domain perspective, right? And in here it's purely showing you how we implement the data quality rules into our solution, right? So now if once this loop has been completed, let me just use this cell up to here, right? So let's run it. And now I'm going to say, yeah, if let's say full name, sorry, if flag. And by the way, if you are generating a Boolean, you don't need to put the condition because Boolean values or Boolean variables already, once they come in within the if condition, they provide the Boolean result, whether it's going to be true or false. And that's what generally the requirement of the if condition. If normally asks you to provide some criteria, that's going to be ended up whether it's going to be valid or invalid, which we normally call in our technical terms true and false, right? Correct or incorrect. You can translate into any terminology, but at the end, it's going to be 1 or 0. 1 means true and 0 means false, right? But if I'm storing some results in a Boolean variable, I don't need to provide that condition back to my if statement, because if whatever expression we provide, it evaluates and it generates a result, which is either going to be true or false. But if we are providing the variable which contain the true or false, that is going to equivalent to the first case, right? So in this case, because I'm already storing my result into the variable flag and I'm storing it as a Boolean value. So that's why if I just called it if flag, so flag means true or false. If flag, that means I am finding the valid value. So what I'm going to call it, I'm just going to print a message. Yeah. Full name is valid, right? However, sorry, in else, I'm just going to call it is invalid, right? Simple. Let's see what we're gonna get. Yeah, our full name is invalid. All right. So what it's doing? Okay, for somehow it's the flag value is coming as into, let's see. So that's where the debugging comes into the picture. For somehow we are unable to get the value, so it is printing, which is good. Sorry, it is going through that loop for item, and if item is not is, but we have the space, right? Let me see. Yeah, we have a space in here. Let me see if I can. So now we are unable to see where the error is. So what I'm gonna do, print, and that's how we do a debug. If you don't have the debugger available, let's see if it's going to print debug. Yeah, it is printing, but oh, that's true. Why it's not? My mistake. I have used the incorrect spell, and that's more like the conceptual or logical error instead of the syntax, which sometimes is really hard to identify. I think we are all good. We're gonna see, yeah, true, and that's good. In this video, we also see if we want to debug our code, what are the techniques we normally use to debug our code, right? So let me just take it out, or I can comment it. Now I'm gonna show you all good. In here, I'm able to see, yeah, full name is valid. Now, what I'm going to do to reverse this condition, and I'm going to take this part in here. And instead of space, how about if I just put the underscore in my name, and let's see if I'm able to identify or catch it that, okay, that's not the correct full name. So let's see, yeah, false, and if I put the message, it's gonna see full name is invalid, right? So in this video, what we have seen the concept of how we normally use the for loop and how it has been used with the condition, how we're gonna break the condition forcefully if we reach to the conclusion during our loop execution, and also a simple technique to debug if we don't have the debugger available. So in the notebook, for somehow I'm unable to debug my code, I can do it. Let me see. No, I don't think it will provide me the debugging option. Obviously we can do it in the Python pure environment, like if we are using the v code or any other Python editor which provide the debug capabilities, we can go and debug and find out the error. But that's a simple technique to do the debugging if you don't have the debugger available, right? So that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you understand the concept how we generally use the loops in our solution. What's the concept of the for loop, the break statement? Feel free to reach out if you have any question. Otherwise, thanks for watching this video and stay tuned for the functions.